to present the 2018 Man of the Year Award, Walter Camp past president Bernie Pellegrino, an ND alum. Proud to share that with Mike.
Thanks, Kevin. In August of 1981, I met Mike Golic in the lobby of Dillon Hall, where we had both been assigned to live as freshmen at the University of Notre Dame. We seemingly had little in common. He was a big football star from Cleveland. I was a little cross-country runner, not a very good one from right here in New Haven. But you would have never have known that from the time we met. Michael was a regular guy with a big persona who liked to laugh. The Mike Golic that I came to know over the next 4 years exhibited the same qualities that bring him here tonight to receive this award. He loved football. From 1981 to 1985, he was the consummate football player at the University of Notre Dame. It was part of his being. He worked hard to be the best player he could be and the best teammate he could be. And he was selected captain of the team our senior year. He was drafted by the Houston Oilers in the 1985 NFL draft and enjoyed 9 seasons in the NFL with the Oilers, Eagles, and Dolphins. The Mike Golic that I knew in 1981 loved to talk. And when he spoke, you listened. You had no choice. You knew when Golic was in the dorm because if you walked down that hallway, you could hear him in his room talking to someone about something. Usually the door was open and you would walk in because it was enjoyable to listen to him talk. Those traits served him well when his football career ended. When he was playing in Philadelphia, he started working in broadcast journalism, and when he retired in 1995, he was hired by ESPN as an NFL analyst. Shortly thereafter, and for the next 18 years, he headlined the Emmy Award-winning Mike and Mike in the Morning show on ESPN TV and radio. The Mike Golic that I knew in 1981 had empathy, the ability to share the feelings of others. His roommate suffered from a musculoskeletal disability. Mike was his biggest ally and sometimes tormentor. Mike led by the time 1985 came and he was the team captain, Kevin was the team manager. He led our team in their community service activities and is still actively involved in the South Bend Homeless Center. His community activities continue during his playing years, and he has used the bully pulpit as a broadcaster to raise funds for the V Foundation for Cancer Research, St. Jude's Foundation, and the Hannah and Friends Foundation for Special Needs Children. He was a family guy, and he loved Notre Dame back then. His family would come to games. He played with his brother, Greg. His brother, Bob, was perhaps the greatest linebacker in Notre Dame history. Mike was proud to play at Notre Dame, and he has staunchly defended Our Lady throughout his life. He and Christine raised 3 children, Mike Jr., Jake, and Sydney, who all attended Notre Dame. And he has dedicated countless hours to our alma mater's scholarship fundraising. Finally, he loved to eat back then too. He lived in the same first-floor wing at Dillon Hall for 4 years. Why? Because it was the shortest walk to the dining hall. When he wasn't holding court in his room, you could usually find him in the Dillon food sales with a pizza in front of him, pontificating on the topic of the day. Michael, many things have changed in 37 years since we met in Dillon Hall, but the characteristics that were readily apparent to us back then are the same as those for which you are being honored tonight. Football, family, and compassion for others. An entertainer with a large appetite for life, and Johnsonville brats. And finally, your devotion to Notre Dame. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2018 Man of the Year, Mike Golic.
Thanks, Bernie. Appreciate that very much. Sorry if you're stuffing in those lockers I did a few times to you. In all honesty, I mean, seriously, people, you'd rather just me cede my time to Dave Seville again and let him come up here, right? I would. I'd rather hear him talk than me or Jake Olson. I'd rather hear, my gosh. Thanks for, I have to follow you guys. Incredible, incredible talks and things that we have learned tonight. And what an honor it is to be honored by the Walter Camp Football Foundation and what they stand for. My brother made this All-American team in 1978. And players understand the meaning of this All-American team. They understand what it's all about. And it is one of those that players value and look forward to. And it's something they can also learn about. You know, in this day and age of finding out information of Walter Camp and what he meant to the game of football, which is what it's going to revolve around. Now, luckily, my highlight reel was shorter than Larry Fitzgerald's because I had 11 and a half career sacks. He had 1,300 catches, and we saw damn near every one of them. Wow. But listening to what all these people had to say tonight, Herschel Walker, I didn't think I'd hear a Danny Glover Predator, you know, analogy. But there we got it. Herschel and I were teammates for 3 years in Philadelphia. And it's one thing when you hear about the sit-ups and the push-ups and he doesn't sleep a lot, do you really buy into it? He's a teammate of mine. I saw him with no shirt on. I bought into it. If I looked like that, I'd never own a shirt in my life. Ever. Being a University of Notre Dame alum and along with Julian, one thing I'll say is, Jake Olson, as a Notre Dame grad and Notre Dame person, we learned to hate USC. You have made me like USC. God, that was hard to say, but I said it. So all the messages you heard tonight, listen, I can't add to them or go above them or more, but I can add to it in this way. What do they all revolve around? The greatest game there is, football. They all revolve around football. How many times did we hear team? How many times did we hear get knocked down, get back up? And I'm talking a lot to you guys up here. I just tough to turn and talk all that time. But understand, and to the young men and women out here competing in sports. But the game of football, one of the men I worked with in calling games is a man named Bill Curry. A lot of you may know him, some of you may not know him. Bill Curry played for the center, was the center for Bart Starr of the Green Bay Packers. Also played for Don Shula from the Baltimore Colts as well. Bill Curry also coached Kentucky and Alabama and other schools as well. An incredible man. And one of the things he talked about that fits what we're talking about, the game of football. He talked about the huddle. What's in the huddle? When you're in the huddle, it doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you are, where you're from in the country. It doesn't matter because everybody is in the huddle together, working as one. That's what football does. You work together in that huddle. You work together as a team. Everybody here is here because they're passionate about sports, but so passionate about the game of football. And I know all the players up here, current players, former players, and you youngsters out there who are playing now. The things you can take away from this game of football, all the people who did play, went through that youth league, you remember the first time you got knocked down. You remember the first time you got your nose bloodied. You remember the first time you got your eyes watered. And you remember your teammate reaching his hand down and helping you up. You remember reaching your hand down and helping your teammate up. You remember them spotting you in the squat or in the bench press. You remember the teammates working together with one another for one common goal. You All-Americans here deserve the honor you're getting as an individual goal, but you also understand it's wrapped around a team goal. I was so jealous. I'm jealous of every championship team I see. And I talked to the state champs in Connecticut this morning, the high school champs, and the players on the Clemson team as well. The feeling you get when the clock strikes zeros and you have hit that goal. You've got that goal that you got together as a team, what you finished and what you accomplished. So I would say to all the players up here, both young and old, and everybody out there, of how it's going to help you. A lot of us are done playing football. You guys are looking to go on to play in the pros. Some will, some won't. And some of you that are high school players that are here, you may be done playing. You may be done with the game of football. But the game of football and what you learned is not done with you. You can take all the things you learned from Pop Warner and as high as you went in the game of football, and you can use that as value in your life on how you are going to live your life. How many times you got knocked down? How many times you got knocked down with whatever situation came your way? However you got knocked down, you got up. You got up, and you continue to get up, and you continue to fight. That's only going to help going forward in sports, out of sports. Congratulate all you players here tonight for what you've accomplished and what you're going to accomplish. Don't ever forget where it all came from. Don't ever forget where it came from, and pay it forward when you can to the next person coming up to teach them the values of this great game of football. It is the greatest game on the planet. And I know you all know that. Thank you all very much for showing up. Such a wonderful, wonderful experience. Thank you.